Well, a very good day to you. My name is Simon Rungu here at The Big Question at Professor Herman Manyora. I'm trusting that you're well, wherever it is that you're watching us from our end, we are doing just fine. Prof, let me juggle your mind a little bit.
Yes.
I know you're a fan of Mrenda.
Who?
Mrenda.
Mrenda, yes.
Mrenda,
yes,
the
yes.
vegetable.
Yes, yes.
What's the English
Okra.
term? Okra?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
I see you know your foods very well.
Okay.
They call you master of literature.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now let's dive
I'm
in.
not a master. I know a little bit.
You know a little bit of it. You know,
I went
people
to
say
school kidogo.
it came with the white people. We are
Yes,
just
yes.
learning from the white people. Now let's dive into today's conversation, Prof. Now in 2013, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was elected as the 4th president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
A son to the first president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
And people are hoping later on maybe Gideon Moi was going to take over perhaps in 2022, maybe later on. But looking at the career or the political journey of Gideon Moi, things are not turning out very well because he lost the senatorial seat. He also applied for the Yala member of parliament, but he later withdrew. People were saying that he saw that he was going to be whitewashed by the new people in the political scene.
Yes.
Prof, now are we looking at the end of the so-termed dynasty in Kenya?
If you look at it cheaply, yes.
Okay.
But if you look at it with political eyes, critically, if you invite history to help you, then you can't say that.
Okay. How do you look?
Cheaply, it looks obvious that Gideon has been embarrassed, vanquished, could even win senatorial. He didn't even contest for presidency, leave alone losing or winning. And therefore he's finished. But if you look at it from with political eyes and critical, you see that happens all the time.
Okay.
Losing today doesn't mean, and things don't always work the way you think. That because Uhuru became president, then Gideon must become, things don't work like that.
Okay.
But again using history, you can see that thinking is a bit cheap because Uhuru went through the same.
Okay.
He lost parliamentary seat, he tried and lost.
Gatundu?
Yeah, Gatundu, 1997, he lost. He went for presidency, 2002, he was whitewashed by Kibaki. But he did his 10 years.
Okay.
So history that is just yesterday can tell you to dismiss Gideon Moi merely because he has not run for presidency, has not won the presidency, he has lost senator position, is to lack the critical eye that is necessary to understand politics.
Okay, you have mentioned generational change, Prof, in politics.
Yes.
And this generational change is whereby we are going to see new people in the political arena.
Yes,
Prof.
yes.
And isn't this the generational change, is it going to block Gideon Moi from making the contesting for the major seat in Kenya?
I'm one of the people who talked strongly about this year being a year of generational change.
Okay. But you
And
said
people
it's
asked me, how would it be generation if Raila is
still in
almost
contesting?
certain to win at that time? I was sure Raila was winning. So are many people. But what I meant was, it will be a new way of doing things. With most of the players being young. It depends on who between Raila and Ruto was going to usher in the change that will mark the generation change.
Ruto was the one coming in with the new generation?
He was, in terms of age, he was younger than Raila. But in terms of ideas, I'm not so sure he was younger than Raila. Because I think Raila was going to be a bridge to be used by the young people to cross and take over leadership.
Raila?
They will be on his shoulders as they take. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Maybe I was wrong.
What would you say?
Now, I could be right because what President Ruto has done so far does little to show that he's a president of change.
He has done more?
I'm saying he had done little.
Just
look at the ministers he has chosen.
3 months.
Look at the people he has put in office. Very good people. But do they inspire confidence that there are people who are progressive in thinking, who can usher Kenya on a new path?
Are you inspired by the new cabinet?
I'm not inspired, and I've said as much. They don't. Look at what Moses Kuria was saying the other day. That because there are so many things that can kill Kenyans, adding one on the list by way of GMO That's no harm. That's a cabinet minister. In which country can a minister say that and go back to his office? So if you look at the choice of even principal secretaries, in terms of anchoring administration on tribe, that shows you that between Raila and Uhuru and Ruto, perhaps Raila was more progressive and they would have given the chance for a rebirth for the country more than Ruto, perhaps. Because Ruto is not doing enough to convince me he's a president that stands for change.
Aren't you going to give him more time?
Which time?
Maybe
How do
year
you
or
get time when
something.
you start wrongly with the wrong ministers? Because these are people, some of them just want money. Why don't you give them tenders? Why don't you just make them chairman of parastatals where they do nothing because the CEO is working?
Because
Now I'm CEO, huyu mzee nimeleta hapa, asikulete, wewe fanya kazi. I'll hold you responsible. Huyu mzee unampatia allowance, Friday anapatia kapasha allowance ya chairman. Once in a while you send him on a European trip, expenses paid because he's a good man, he helped me.
Perhaps because...
But then look for that ministry, which Moses Kuria has. Because I trust Moses Kuria. I believe he's a good man. The problem with his mouth.
He need to tame
No,
his
I
mouth.
thought he was going to stop. Now what I've heard him say, if I'm Ruto, I'll crack. I cannot be like Uhuru. You know Uhuru had ministers. They proved to even a child that this is a useless person. But Uhuru maintained them for 10 years, 5 years. Those he had the gut not to renew at the end of the first term, he sent them abroad as ambassadors. I hope Ruto does. If I don't know why can't Ruto listen to me even one day? Toa hii Moses Kuria kwa kiti. He's my friend, lakini toa ili iwe funzo kwa wengine. A minister has to be guarded in their pronouncements. Even as he's saying that, even how Bill Gates who are parading those, even akikusikiza asema kweli, tumepata watu kweli, we are okay. We are in the right place. If these are the people we are going to deal with as we market GMO, our work is very simple.
Back to dynasties and Gideon Moi.
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
what you have with Moses Kuria.
Yes.
Though you're
No,
saying
Moses
that
Kuria is
he's
my
your
friend. He's my good friend, I'm telling you. In fact, I'm going to call him out that he's telling
Okay, now,
Moses Kuria.
how are things
How
looking?
could you speak like that?
How are things looking for Gideon Moi in the future?
I cannot tell. Gideon Moi has also shown.
Do you think he's
me,
going to have a comeback? Comeback?
Yeah, Gideon Moi has unfortunately shown, I could be wrong, he has shown to be a poor politician, a weak politician.
How? By the decision he's making?
I didn't see him come out strongly within Azimio, which was his home. I believe to this day, if people like Gideon Moi had made greater contributions within Azimio, the situation could not have been what it is today.
Okay.
And he going for senator position and then losing it. That doesn't appear to be very smart. Either you know you won't get it and therefore you don't go for it, or you go for it and get it. I even don't understand. And that's why I respect Ruto. I respect Ruto so much. Because he's my idea of what a politician should be in terms of knowing that politics is a game of a certain type. If my father was the president of the Republic of Kenya for 5 years, leave alone 24 years, how can I stand for a seat in my home and lose? I have a problem believing.
When your father has been president, you're losing.
My father has been president not for 5 years, for 24 good years. Then some small boy beats me in an election.
So what would Gideon Moi, what does Gideon Moi need to do? Does he need to
He has
go
to reinvent himself
under the wing
and
of
stop
someone
being mean.
strong, someone
And
like Raila
he has to
Odinga?
reinvent himself and stop being mean. I hear people say he's very mean. Kenyan politics, my friend, like politics anywhere in the world, you need resources for politics. That's why in America there's fundraising. You need resources. To mobilize people, you need resources. Gideon Moi has resources, but I've not seen him deploying the resources in a manner to suggest to me he's serious about elections.
Many a times, Prof, you've mentioned about Moi Kibaki being a caretaker president for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
Yes.
Now, can William Ruto be a care president, holding the seat for Gideon Moi
He
perhaps
cannot.
in the future?
Does Ruto look to you to be a caretaker of anything?
No,
Ruto is president. Ruto amekalia hiyo kiti completely. Unaweza
By that, what do you mean?
If Raila had won, And that's why I'm saying Gideon doesn't know how to play this game. If Raila had won, Gideon stood a very high chance of becoming president in the future. Because Raila would have been like a caretaker president. And I could give you the arrangement. After Raila, there could have been somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka, with Gideon Moi as the running mate, with Mother Karua as prime minister. It's something like that. Come 2032, Kalonzo goes home, Gideon Moi becomes... It was so... Hii hesabu ilikuwa rahisi kabisa. Na hiyo hesabu Ruto aliona akapiga nani teke, hiyo mtego.
Okay.
Respect Ruto, ogopa Ruto.
The two sons of the former presidents of Kenya, we have Uhuru and we have Gideon Moi.
And they were knocked down by a villager, hustler, chicken seller.
Are they kingsmakers?
That's why I say I'm really faulting Farouk. I want to see Ruto to give him my hand, but Farouk cannot organize for me to see him.
Do you think the name Moi has a role to play for Gideon Moi?
Yeah, these names are not simple names. If you use, you must harness. If your father is big, if you are a Kennedy, you must use the Kennedy name. But there must be something. When people are talking about Winnie Odinga, she's Raila's daughter, but she must have something so that she can make use of the Raila name. You can't just be anybody and make use of the Raila name because he's your father. No, there must be something in you. So Gideon Moi has a big infrastructure. The Moi name is an infrastructure. Uhuru has been riding on the Kenyatta name.
But the name has not been playing well for him.
For Kenyatta?
For Gideon.
Gideon, yes, because he has not wanted to harness it.
Now where is the problem? Is it Gideon Moi or is it the history of the dad?
Even in death, Moi is an institution. But you have to use it.
Me, what's the problem? Is it Gideon Moi? Is it the history of his father?
I'm beginning to see it's Gideon Moi. Moi never had a bad history. People now, if you write the history of this country, Moi will get more credit. People say Moi was bad. What have they done that Moi better than Moi did? What is it they have done? They say Moi had destroyed coffee. Ya Kikuyu. Kikuyus have been in power for 20 years. What have they done on the coffee?
Nothing.
Kikuyus were blaming Moi. He destroyed our coffee, he destroyed our what? Kibaki, pop, 10 years. Uhuru, almost 10 years. What have they done to change the situation? Look at the schools Moi put up. Who has put up even an eighth of the schools that Moi put up? Look at even the infrastructure. Uhuru may have done more kilometers. But looking at the time during which Moi did what he did, opening roads in the forests, the airports he put up, what have they done themselves? So, it's not the Moi name. Moi has a good name. Okay. He was a dictator, of course. Kanu was bad, of course. So were many other people bad, and so are many other people still bad.
There were shortcomings.
But there were shortcomings, there were good, because Moi was a human being. He had his own weaknesses and strong points. So you cannot say Gideon could be suffering from the Moi name. No. In fact, the Moi name is an asset. If Gideon Moi were to come to me and hire me as a consultant to manage him as a politician, he still has a chance to become president. But he must hire me and be prepared to move out of the shadows, come in the open, and learn that politics is a full-time job. You put in everything you can. I've seen politicians who are also businessmen. They want to run politics like business. No. Ndio Ruto anawachafua tu. Ruto anajua hii game. These ones, they want to run politics like business with all the beacons of politics. If you are a billionaire and you want to be president and you cannot throw in 1 billion to remove 50,000, you shake. Because as a businessman, to spend 100,000, you shake. Even if you have billions, you will never touch, you will never finish. Your children will never finish. Your grandchildren will misuse it. But still, to spend 10,000 as a billionaire is very difficult. So if you carry that mindset to politics, you lose it. Okay. Once you are in politics, you must know the games are different. So you look at your resources, you cut a small bit of it. You put embargo. You say, this one I can never touch. But this one, if I'm a billionaire and I'm looking at 2027, and I have friends of mine who are billionaires trying to run for 2027, I say, okay, I'm a billionaire, I'm worth 20 billion, 30 billion. I'm going to set aside 500 million every year between now and 2025, 26. Then I will have a complete budget in 2027, end of 2026. But between now and 2026, 500 billion shillings, 500 million every month. They can't do that.
Okay.
A billionaire cannot do that. Even though you will never use this money. This money, you will never use it.
But
it is useless.
Holding on to it.
But holding. It is the millionaire's curse. The billionaire curse is that you shed tears when you lose a shilling, when you spend a shilling. You smile until the last molar when you bring in a million. When money comes in, you smile. But you start with a billionaire in a cafeteria, and the bill of 800 shillings come. He start, and a study bill ni kama mtu anataka kufanya PhD. 800 shillings, which Manyora just pays. Because Manyora doesn't have money. It doesn't. So people like Gideon Moi must know there's a difference between business and politics.
Okay.
If politics demands you have resources, dedicate the resources to the business, to the politics. If you can't, get the hell out of politics.
Okay. Let's wrap up the conversation at that. Well, running politics is different from running a business. Are we looking at the end of the dynasty rule in Kenya, or so people call it that way? Well, till you have the next conversation or the next episode of The Big Question, enjoy the rest of your day.